Hi everyone, today is November the 10th, 2021, and today I want to make a brief prequel sort of video talk, whatever, about a book that I am reading that apparently is not released yet. Don't ask me how I got a copy. That's but anyways, it's a fascinating book. This book was supposed to be released last year, I believe, but then the author delayed it to the 15th or 22nd of November this year. And I think that in itself is fascinating. Following that, that postponement, this author went off, and participated in some of those events, let's just say, that that do sort of dry runs of things, of events, etc. If you know what sort of events I'm talking about. Yeah, and I wonder how much of what's to come this author knows about. Anyways, so I'm reading this book, and what I'm reading in it is making me want to reread Jim Rickards' books as well, because I feel like this author who I'm talking about has a very sort of globalist view, whereas Jim Rickards seems to have a very nationalist, if you will, view, and one has a very sort of and I don't mean to sound I'm not bashing this author, because he's brilliant, obviously. And nor am I bashing China, frankly. This author has a very pro-China sort of view, and Jim Rickards has almost, anti-China view. And I am much more moderate in both regards, and I think which is complicated for me specifically to even have that sort of position on China, say, because I was born and raised in India, and in India, Indians are not particularly warm and fuzzy towards Chinese. That's like just that's fact. And that doesn't mean that like all Indians think all Chinese are bad or anything like that, but there's definitely a sense of competition and mistrust between Indians as a people and Chinese as a people. And given that even though I was born and raised in India, I do have, if you will, Western origins. As a Catholic, I am a minority in India. Because of that, I have more of a neutral view, even in India. I think a lot of not a lot, but some of the mistrust between Chinese and from Indians towards Chinese, let's say, also has something to do sort of with facial features and expressiveness and showing affect on the face. For example, Indians have big eyes. I don't, because I guess because like I have Western roots, so some of my features don't come across as very Indian. But generally, like my kids always joke and say like, "Mom, you can't do an eye roll when you like, yeah, like I do an eye roll," and they're like, "That's not an eye roll, Mom. I don't know what that is. You don't know to do a proper eye roll," because they have proper Indian eyes and I don't. But anyway, so Indians have big expressive eyes generally, and I think that part of it is the fact that Indians with big, large, expressive eyes find it hard to read a Chinese expression because of their more, it's not flat affect really, but they're less expressive facially speaking. They convey less, from an affect point of view. And I think that engenders a bit of mistrust in the Indians, because it's like, well, if I can't read your face, how do I know if I can trust you? And there's quite a bit of that, and I think that's sort of why Indians like Americans so much, because Americans are as as expressive as can be. Like, there's not much reading to do there. Well, with some people, yeah, those who are kind of low context communication, overly diplomatic, the soft American euphemisms, when they say shit like, we're closing the gold window, when what they mean is they're going to default on an obligation of giving gold to the rest of the world that they promised in 1944, that kind of crap. Like that American euphemism notwithstanding, at least facial expression wise, Indians find it easier to trust Americans than the Chinese. But anyways, I kind of went off on a cultural and facial expression tangent there. But coming back to this book that I'm reading, I think this author, he is sort of, in some ways, he's kind of, what is that phrase, gone native, because he's been to China so much. And I know that sounds really negative, and I really like this author. I like his work. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He has a very almost Buddhist way of seeing things, and I think a lot of what he says actually is very, very fair, very fair towards the Chinese, but almost pro, which does make one wonder, like, as an American, and he's an American, it's like, well, you're an American, whose side are you on? But this author seems to have a very, in that sense, very Buddhist sort of view, Buddhist/globalist view, which is like, well, what's good and bad? These are just natural falls and declines and rises of empires that happen, over millennia, but over the past 500-600 years, they've happened multiple times with multiple currencies and empires and regimes. And then on the other hand, you have an author like Jim Rickards, who, in a way, I feel like Jim Rickards kind of leans on the other side of this guy, where Jim Rickards is almost like, nothing. You can't trust anything that comes from China. You can't, the numbers are wrong, the growth is wrong, the this and that. Like, sometimes when I listen to him, I'm like, well, I do love Jim Rickards too. That's the other thing. Well, but I'm like, well, really? Do you really think that you can't trust anything at all? Because I do view China as I say a worthy opponent. I don't even know why I would say opponent necessarily. go ahead and unsubscribe to anybody I've pissed off by saying that. But no, I mean, seriously though, you know, I think that if there is a group of people that have worked their asses off and have been very strategic and, you know, playing the long game, are you going to just suddenly hate them because you can't beat them? Or is a smarter strategy to make yourself better, stronger, so that make your family and everyone better, stronger, so that you in a few generations time can maybe take back that power? Just a thought. Anyways, so keep an eye out for that. I will not make a book review about that book until after that book is officially released, and until because I am buying the official edited copy as well of that book. And yeah, so keep an eye out for that one. I think it's going to be a fun review because of this reading that I've done of the unedited. Maybe it's unedited, maybe it's not, I don't know. This is the book I got definitely was what they call like foul matter, you know, the drafty kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it is changed, removed, edited out, etc. But keep an eye out for that video. I hope to have it maybe by the end of next week, because that's about when the actual book is released, and it'll take me a day or two to read the actual edited proper book. So thanks again for listening, and take care. Bye.